On his 31st birthday, June 22, 1934, John Dillinger is named America's very first public enemy #1. Dillinger and his gang commit some 24 bank robberies across the Midwest, while stealing as much as $7 million in today's currency. In the throes of the Great Depression, Dillinger's daring crimes make him a hero to millions of Americans who blame banks for their struggles.
In October 1933, Dillinger and some associates rob a bank in Greencastle, Indiana. As the story goes, there is near the bank teller a farmer who is just terrified that these armed men have just stormed the bank.
Had some cash sitting on the counter, and Dillinger said to the farmer, "Is that your money or the bank's?" And the farmer said, "It's mine." And Dillinger said, "Keep it, we only want the bank's." So those 7 words were what made him into the anti-hero Robin Hood and kind of somebody who really got the attention of the entire country.
For Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who is newly elected, this could be a potentially huge problem. If hardcore criminals who are robbing banks with guns are considered folk heroes, and FDR instructs J. Edgar Hoover to put a stop to it.
I repeat that this is a time when law enforcement must fight for its right to conquer the criminal world.
Then, in 1934, after killing a police officer during a bank robbery in East Chicago, Indiana, John Dillinger's gang flees to a hotel in Tucson, Arizona. When a random fire breaks out, firefighters find Dillinger's stash of guns, bulletproof vests, and $25,000 in cash stolen from the East Chicago robbery. Within days, Dillinger is captured by local police and arrested.
There are a number of states that want him extradited, and Indiana wins because it is in Indiana that Dillinger shoots a police officer.
Dillinger is sent to Lake County Jail in Crown Point, Indiana, which is, according to many, escape-proof.
On March 3rd, 1934, after less than 3 months in jail, Dillinger escapes using a fake pistol.
Dillinger carved a fake gun either out of potato, a bar of soap, or a piece of wood that he blackened with shoe polish. There are also some who believe that it was a real gun.
For a prisoner to use a fake gun, this has led to a number of alternative theories. One is that he might have, in fact, bribed the guards.
Dillinger's prison break gives J. Edgar Hoover the opportunity he's been looking for.
After his escape, he steals the sheriff's car. And by stealing the sheriff's car and going across state lines, that is a federal crime.
Now J. Edgar Hoover has the authority and the jurisdiction to sic his federal agents on John Dillinger.
6 weeks after Dillinger's prison escape, Hoover's agent in charge, Melvin Purvis, is at the Bureau's Chicago office when he gets a call from a tipster.
According to FBI records, the tipster is a relative of Emil Winotka, who's the proprietor of a vacation lodge in northern Wisconsin called the Little Bohemia. And the tip is an exciting one. It suggests that Dillinger and some of his associates are holed up there.
Melvin Purvis calls in agents from all over, and they descend on this lodge after dark, and they wait for Dillinger.
But the takedown doesn't go as planned. When 3 men emerge from the lodge and get into a car, the agents open fire, killing 1 man and wounding his 2 companions.
There is this barrage of gunfire. Only in its aftermath does Purvis realize that they have made a terrible mistake.
All of this confusion is going on, and then they find out that the 3 men that were shot, one of whom died, had nothing to do with the gang. They were just 3 innocent guests who were staying at the lodge.
At this point, Dillinger and all his men know that something's going on outside, and everybody pretty much goes out the windows and out the back door. And not a single one of them were caught. None of them were killed, none of them were wounded even.
The bad press from this Little Bohemia incident was yet another black eye to J. Edgar Hoover. He and Melvin Purvis are both in danger of losing their jobs. And it is really from that point on that the order regarding John Dillinger is shoot to kill.
It was necessary for local law enforcement officers somewhere in the United States to each day, every day of the year, protect their own lives by shooting to kill.
3 months after the Little Bohemia disaster, Agent Purvis and his men chase a man they claim is Dillinger into an alley next to the Biograph Theater in Chicago and shoot him dead. Before the burial, the viewing is held at the Harvey Funeral Home in Dillinger's hometown of Mooresville. As family members and mourners file past the deceased, whispers begin that the man in the coffin isn't John Dillinger.
It was reported that on the scene, when Melvin Purvis first turns over the body, he says out loud, "This doesn't look like Dillinger." Then realizing that there are a lot of spectators around that heard him, he rather loudly says, "Ah, yes, that's a great bit of plastic surgery, that." And some people say John Dillinger, along with a lot of other gangsters from this era, did frequently undergo plastic surgery.
A doctor named Wilhelm Lozier even claims he helped Dillinger change his appearance.
The person who allegedly had performed the plastic surgery on John Dillinger was Dr. Lozier, and he had been connected with crime groups for a number of years.
Dr. Wilhelm Lozier practiced in Chicago for nearly 3 decades before being convicted in 1931 for dealing in illegal narcotics. He was paroled from prison in December of 1932. Less than 2 years later, he claims he is summoned to work on Dillinger.
Lozier confesses to having performed plastic surgery on Dillinger between May 28th and June 5th.
He admitted to the fact that over several months that he had worked on Dillinger, especially his facial appearance, but even using acid to alter his fingerprints.
He had moles removed, he had scars fixed, he had the cleft in his chin, which was one of his most distinguishing features. The cleft was filled in.
The official autopsy report, written by Dr. Jerome Kearns, raises even more questions about the man killed at the Biograph Theater.
In his report, Dr. Kearns notes that Dillinger's eyes were brown. Now, this contradicts Dillinger's naval records, which list his eyes as blue, and wanted posters for Dillinger, which described his eyes as being gray.
Is it possible that someone else was killed in place of Dillinger?
According to Nash, there is another man named Jimmy Lawrence living in Chicago at the same time as Dillinger. He is a small-time crook. He had moved there from Wisconsin. He does have a striking resemblance to John Dillinger, and he also has a heart condition identical to the one that is noted on the autopsy report.
According to author and investigator J. Robert Nash, Jimmy Lawrence becomes key to Dillinger's plan to outfox the FBI.
It was after Little Bohemia. Dillinger is seriously thinking about getting away.
One of Dillinger's last associates, a guy named James Blackie Audette, he says that John Dillinger paid a man named Jimmy Lawrence thousands of dollars to convince Polly Hamilton and Anna Sage that he was, in fact, the infamous outlaw, John Dillinger.
According to Blackie Audette, it is not Dillinger, but Lawrence, who ends up accompanying Sage and Hamilton to the Biograph Theater, and who ends up shot dead in the alley outside. After Dillinger is supposedly killed, then this Jimmy Lawrence disappears and is never heard from again. But that theory, it requires us to answer other questions. Chief among them, what happened to the real John Dillinger?